Let's go. Get your hands in the air now. Right now, right now. I said it goes like this. Her name was Lois Lane, and it wasn't their fault. They couldn't help but gawk when she walked into the room. She had on cheap perfume, some kind of jealous gloom. These boys would act like they would laugh, but I could tell they wanted to follow her back to her room. As for myself, I put the notion right on the shelf. How hard it is to be blown away, 'cause I could clearly not withstand the damage of falling for Miss Lois Lane. She started walking out, walking out, walking out, when I decided to plead for her heart. She shine, shine. They would stare and you know why, all dolled up like it was prom night. And I can't help but think of her right now, right now. 'Cause her name was Lois Lane, and it wasn't their fault, their fault. They couldn't help but gawk when she walked into the room. She had on cheap perfume, some kind of jealous gloom. These boys would act like they would laugh, but I could tell they wanted to follow her back to her room. 'Cause her name was Lois Lane, her name. As for myself, I put the notion right on the shelf. How hard it is to be blown away. I clearly could not withstand the damage of falling for Miss Lois Lane. My name is Clark, and I love her.
Happy Aloha Friday, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Aloha Friday. It's the end of the week. We've made it. It is time to relax and chill. It is our 217th live stream, and this is just going to be a really good show, guys. I can't wait to talk to the guest that's in the studio. I met this guy back in the way back when machine, and we're going to be chopping it up today, but everything collecting. But before we even do any of that, guys, let me get my wife into the studio. Dee, how are you?
Hey, I am great. It's a beautiful sunny. I feel like I'm screaming. It's not a sunny day. It's actually kind of overcast because it was dumping cats and dogs, but it's still Aloha Friday. No work till Tuesday because of the holiday.
People are leaving, Dee. People are leaving.
No, I think we just gained one more. Come on now.
Okay. Wishful thinking, everyone. No, I'm playing.
But
How are you today, Dee?
Yeah, I'm good. Okay.
Yes.
It's always like Friday that always comes by so quickly, and then it just rolls away right into Saturday. So I woke up this morning, did some stuff, and then before I knew it, I was like, oh crap, it's like 2.5 more hours and then we need to do our show. So then I ran into town, or I didn't run into town, I drove into town, and then, did some errands and stuff, and then came back, and yeah, here we are. That was, I don't know why. I basically said like my whole life story today. But yeah, it's been a productive day, at least on my part, that I can say. What about you, Hinano? How are you feeling?
Well, first off, I want to wish everybody happy Superman Day.
Yes.
It is our day today, Dee. We actually made it. It is Superman Day. Let's go. If you guys know us, we are big DC fans, and today is our day. Man, I've just been seeing nothing but Superman promos. I'm stoked for the Superman movie. McFarlane had all types of Superman collectibles for sale. By the way, we have something to say about McFarlane after we do this quick intro. But I'm doing well. Also, guys, I want everyone to understand something, that the Real Uncommon podcast has been shelved. We are no longer the Real Uncommon podcast. In fact, I'm pretty sure this video will explain who we are now. We'll be right back. That's right, everybody. We are now True Media Group. I have pretty much changed the entire production. We are slowly changing all the socials. I know some of the links still say the Real Uncommon Podcast. We can't change those yet because we've linked a bunch of videos to that. So that will be changing over time. But I want to make sure that we try to correct some of the confusion. Because I know some people are still calling us the Real Uncommon Podcast. I understand we've been called that for 2 years. But we have restructured. The Real Uncommon Podcast has been shelved. And by the way, for all them pirated people out there, you can't take it because that is actually trademarked and that is a separate entity of itself. So, but we are True Media Group, myself, D, Raven, and the biggest bro. You also see them in the chats down below. More to come with that, guys, because right now, even though we can say we've restructured, there's a lot of things that we're doing here that we're not ready to talk about yet. But when we are, we will do a proper launch party, I guess, or something of that sort. But more to come with that. Also, I want to add one more thing before I get our guest in. We have we have another show coming, guys. It's called The Future Feed. And so basically, what is The Future Feed? If you guys remember the community feed, well, we basically rebranded that to The Future Feed. And so myself and D will be popping in once in a while to do little news updates here and there. If you guys haven't noticed, Candy Digital has been acquired by the Futureverse. So we will be talking a lot about that. And this show will be tied to Future Watch. I want people to understand this. This is kind of like a little news segment, but because we used to do this as pre-records, we're going to be doing this from time to time on the timelines. This is also ready to launch, by the way, of the production. Everything is ready to go. I just haven't had enough time to do some recordings yet. But guys, I'll be getting into this, but this will be coming to the timelines as well as YouTube very, very soon. So thank you so much for everyone's patience and, for some of the confusion and stuff like that. D, anything else that you want to add before we get started?
Lots of stuff happening in the background, and once we are ready to make the official announcements, we will do so accordingly.
Yes.
So everyone is on the same page. And we'll do it on our Discord as well as on X, and then obviously on our live streams, just so we hit all bases.
I got one more thing, guys. Today's giveaway is officially sponsored. We have a supported giveaway, and it's officially sponsored by McFarlane Toys. So shout out to the team at McFarlane Toys. And so today, you guys will have a chance to get a promo code from us to get a digital collectible from McFarlane Toys. And here's a sneak peek of what you could get. There you go. So shout out to McFarlane Toys and shout out to the Comic Guy. I see you in the chat. Shout out to Video Shane and shout out to Todd McFarlane right there. Guys, we have an officially sponsored giveaway from McFarlane Toys Digital. Super stoked for this, guys. And we will let you know what you need to type into the chats as soon as we get our guest in. But I think it's time to get him in. Am I right, D?
It is time.
It is time, guys. We will be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, DrKinon. How are you doing, my friend?
Great,
Welcome.
great. Congratulations on the expansion. It looks
Thanks.
great. And I really want to join that giveaway.
You
Yes.
can. Definitely join that
I
giveaway.
don't want to. I don't want
Heck
to.
yeah, you're joining that
Cool, bro.
giveaway. And shout out to McFarlane Toys Digital, man. So basically, before we get started, Dr. Kinnon, I want to give a little bit of the Wayback Machine because we actually met before at DCon 2022 right here. And
Yeah.
rest in love to our friend in the middle right there. But I
Mhm.
remember this day that I met you, and I'm going to give a little backstory. I kind of told Dr. Kinnon the backstory in the backstage, but so this was DCon 2022. This is when I got to meet VV Vibes at the
Mhm.
time. Now he's Digital Vibes. We got to meet My Collectibles, Dino in the picture sleeping, and we all had our
Mhm.
sleeping hats, and we were supposed to go to, or we were scheduled to take a photo shoot. This one down below, and so
Right.
if you guys went to the DCon celebration, some of you went to Sanjay's party on that Friday, which was the DCon kickoff. I believe it was at like Dave and Buster's in Irvine. And so I had a lot of fun that night. And so the next day we got up late and it was about 15 minutes before the photo shoot. And our hotel was like 10 minutes down the road. And we all got up real quick. We put our faces on and we ran out the door. And we were running to the convention center. We got there. And I remember meeting you for the first time, Dr. Kinnon. And
Mhm.
I remember huffing and puffing. I felt like crap. And I'm like, where is everybody? And Sleeping's like, they're late. What do you mean they're late? You know what I
Right.
mean? We ran here. So, but
Mhm.
that was my experience, and that's how I got to meet you for the first time. Was right here, and there you are, right there, next to um uh
It's just a-
Silicon. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm having a brain fart here, but this was a fun time. I
Mhm.
remember hanging out with all you guys. I'm not sure if you went to the bowling alley that night, but kind of a trip back to the Wayback Machine, and now you're here. You're a collector.
Mhm.
You're also a YouTuber now.
Mhm.
How are you doing? Let's go with the pleasantries. How have you been since that experience?
Yeah, definitely. So I brought my hat. So
Yes.
nice.
this is the newer version.
Okay.
You
The
see?
black version. Yeah.
No, but the key is the palindrome. There you go.
Oh, I see it. I
Oh
see
One,
yes,
it.
two,
we like
one. Yeah.
palindromes.
So I'm a palindrome collector.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how many palindromes I actually own. It'll probably take a while to count, but maybe I
Oh
will
wow.
one day. So
Well, that's
yeah,
cool.
I definitely wish I went to the bowling alley,
Oh,
but
you didn't go that night.
no. So we're kind of from the area, so we just dropped by real quick just for the
Yeah.
meetup, and then
Ah.
I know Vivi was showcasing the Vivi verse, and the line
Mhm.
was just so long, so we didn't
Yeah.
even stay for that. We kind of left early. So because we had some other plans, but yeah, definitely a missed opportunity. But that was my first digital collecting event.
I was gonna
Ah.
say, yeah,
Yeah.
like was that your first time to like go out and meet strangers and you know
Yeah.
I mean
Well, hope we
strangers
made a
in
good,
like a
hope we
close
made a good impression.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, well, I
No, that's
remember
cool.
meeting you, man. I remember we were there for a while. We are kicking back. We're talking story. I was a
Mhm.
little bit croggled for the night before, but I
Right.
vividly remember meeting you by that water fountain.
Yeah.
And it was such a good time. And you know, it was the same for us. Like, and for
Mhm.
us, like, it was not our area. We had to
I know.
fly over a big body of ocean to get there, and
Right.
so it was interesting. We brought our child with us, and it was like
Mhm.
the first time we were gonna do this, and I remember when I first walked into that convention center, I'm not a nervous guy, but I
Mhm.
got super nervous. And I saw VV Vibes. He's this tall dude. And I'm like, that's VV Vibes. And I stopped, and he's like, what's going on? You look nervous. I'm like, I'm a bit nervous. I'm like, why? Because like, so for us,
Right.
we never was YouTubers, right? You're a YouTuber now. We're YouTubers.
Mhm.
We were the opposite. We were the audience, and we looked up to these guys, right?
Mhm.
They were the guys that were like feeding us the information, giving us, you know, what was going on in the ecosystem amongst a lot of people that aren't even here anymore. And so, like, for us, it was like a little starstruck moment. And so I remember when we got to Vivi's booth, they're on that corner. That's when they had like the Lambo thing the next day. But we
Right.
turned the corner, and then we accidentally bumped into my collectible. Like, we hit him. You know what I mean? I'm like, holy crap, it's my collectibles. And after that, it was easy because, you know, he was the guy that was on TV. We got to interact with him. It was super cool. And then everyone else. Then if you've ever met me in real life, you would know that I'm what we call Portuguese, or we say as a slang here, Portuguese. We talk too much. And that was it. I was off to the races. I talked to everybody. I talked to the guy behind me. I talked to the guy in front of me. I met this guy named Anesthesia Penguin with his family. In front of me, there was a guy named Franz, and I found out he was doing contract work down here in Hawaii. I met BB Meister. I met Ghost 888. You know, we had our little clique over there. We had such a great time. And, you know, that's what inspired us to start YouTube, was going to that event, meeting all these people, having this conversation. We wanted to continue the conversation. We never thought we'd get here, DrKinon, and this is where we are. D, you want to add anything to this?
I agree with you 100% on kind of like, you know, where we weren't these kind of people before, until, you know, the whole YouTube channel thing was not till after DrKinon, and we wanted to keep, you know, the conversations going and just the experience going, even though it's, you know, on the screen. But at least it was like a way for us to, you know, not you know, to keep the momentum and the party going, so to speak. Yeah, and here we are now. Yeah, so it's been a journey.
I was actually just going to ask you, did you have a YouTube channel at that time? But you just clearly stated that kind of inspired you. But I totally agree. Like, I don't remember exactly. I should check to see when I got involved with Vivi, but that was really the first project I got involved in. And I started watching like comics and crypto and my collectibles and sleeping, you know, to get the alpha on the drops, you know.
Yeah. Well, we'll get into your origin story in just a minute. Before we get started, guys, I want you all to enter in the chats, because we have a supported sponsored giveaway from McFarlane Toys. So if you guys want a chance to win a digital collectible, type in hashtag Superman in the chats down below, and we will run that at the end of the show. And shout out to the crew at McFarlane Toys Digital right there. DrKinon, it's such a pleasure to have you here. It's Superman Day, and so I'm just going to start this off. How did you find this space? How did you get into digital collecting? I like to call this space the Web3 Wild. How did you actually get in here? Give us your full origin story, my friend.
Yeah, so I started getting involved in crypto in 2021. Like at the top.
No,
it's right like the worst time. Well, okay, so I heard about Bitcoin over the years, like from some friends and acquaintances in grad school, and then I had a student who was talking to me about Bitcoin, but you know, he was talking to me about like the dark web and stuff, and I was like, yeah, this seems kind of strange, so I don't want to get involved in this. But you know, I feel like 2020, 2021, things felt like more, you know, legitimate. I'm not sure when like crypto.com, you know, got their stadium over in, I believe it's LA. But you know what I mean? It kind of makes it feel like more normal, legitimate than some sort of, you know, dark web
scammy thing, right?
Yeah, some sort of scammy thing. Well, anyway, so one thing led to another. I was watching a bunch of crypto videos, and I forgot where I saw a video, but someone was talking about hedging into NFTs. Okay. So the idea of hedging, right, is to take a certain amount of your investment and to put it in something else, you know, because you're hedging your bets, right?
Yeah.
You're diversifying. So they were talking about that, and I was like, oh, cool. Like, VV sounds cool. You know, so I got into VV as well, and I bought some common and uncommon comics that were probably way too expensive.
You too.
Hey, but that's fine because you know, at least if you're in the States, right? NFTs are treated basically as crypto, right? So we're talking about gains and losses. So keep track, you know what I mean? And if you have to get rid of some of those NFTs at a lower price, what's your loss, right? Because you're responsible for capital gains, but also capital losses. So it all works out in the end. Not financial advice.
Never. By the way, I have a transition for that. But keep going.
Yeah. So where's I going with that?
So essentially, you're telling us your origin story. You were kind of giving us kind of like the skinny of how you got in here, crypto. You got in at the top. You were kind of giving us the example of hedging.
Yeah, you got it. So basically crypto and then NFT, and I got involved in VV, and then also DC, right? So DC Comics, and who owned it at that point? Palm, right?
Yeah, I believe
Palm.
That's when what is that? The Bat Cow project first kind of came out.
Right, and I just missed the minting for the Bat Cowls. And over the years, I've come like so close to buying one, and I just never have. And I'm like, I wonder if I should
buy one. Please tell me you bought one.
No, I still have not.
You didn't buy one. Okay.
So, and I guarantee, I haven't looked, but I guarantee they've probably spiked again with the recent news.
Yeah, they've gone up since then. So because I think I have 15 now.
15?
And I was buying them really cheap. I'm a big Batman fan. Like I'm not in the Bat Cow community. Shout out to them because I really feel like they're finally getting their due after all of these long years of going through all these hurdles and a lot of roadblocks and a lot of like uncertainty, right? So you know, I'm really stoked for that. But like just like Candy, right? And I'm gonna let you get back to your story. Like I've never, well, that's not true. I've sold one Bat Cow only so D could buy her own Bat Cow because you couldn't transfer, right? And that was it. But I've never sold an asset from that platform because I'm a big DC fan. So yeah, I have everything I've ever bought from that platform. I've never sold one thing.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
But so anyways,
so those were the two projects I got involved in, and then because I got the hat, I think it was the hat and or the wristband from Sleeping, I got into his Discord, and then eventually joined My Collectibles. And I really like drop heads, and the giveaways were always so fun. And you know, he helped me out a lot in the space. So I bought a bunch of drop heads, a lot of them.
I'm with you.
We had a bunch too.
I mean, Pulpy is still the whale, I think, but I've got a ton of drop heads, like Gen 1s. I've got a ton of Gen 1s and Gen 2s.
Yeah, not so much version 3. I don't have too many of those, but definitely 1s and some 2s. Yeah.
I mean, it's your profile picture right here. So
yeah, you got it.
Yeah.
You got it. That's how committed I am. So
no, but you know what I loved about that, just to kind of reference, is we got to experience a first NFT project. That really was my first independent NFT project. And then after that, there was Kid Arcade. He was the next one. But between those two, they showed what you could do with the NFT. You know what I mean? The NFT, and whether you like the art or not, the NFT had what we always wanted: utility. There was something else besides just having like a screenshot or a picture. And that's what inspired us to do our NFT project. A lot of people don't realize we actually have 5 projects out here that we've created so far. And we had to do that because, and shout out to Kid Arcade, because the inspiration was we wanted to give back to our community. Well, how could we do that? We started making NFTs. I've stopped because I've just run out of time. I mean, because that is very time consuming to mint and get things right and to push it out. I was doing it weekly, but that's when I had the time. Now we baby, and you know, you're a family man, so you got to juggle you got to spin a bunch of plates around here. So, but that was the first time I learned about Web3 community. And then, you know, it kind of inspired us to branch out and create our own. We have our own Discord now. We have our own community. We're monetized. In reality, we're not really sponsored by anybody other than, we have sponsored giveaways. VV
Right.
sponsors giveaways. We also have Key Comics and now McFarlane Toys Digital. But when it comes to sponsorships, it's you guys. You guys keep the lights on. And it's been like that since day one when we got monetized. And I don't think we would have been able to get this far if we didn't learn how to create our own community. And, we haven't been as attentive to our community. And I want to apologize to them. We've just been so busy. But they've been very understanding because they're still here. They're still keeping the lights on. So it's a beautiful thing. Keep going, by the way. Sorry.
And then eventually I got involved in McFarlane, and then I was invited to Pinnacle for like their beta. So I got in, I think it was Star Wars Volume 1. So that's pretty exciting. So I collect Star Wars on Pinnacle. I think I put out like a little short on that, I think last week. And I really enjoy McFarlane. My kids, my 4-year-old specifically loves playing in the McFarlane showroom. So, and it's awesome. It runs well. We were talking about the update. I don't remember when it was. I think it was a few months ago, but I haven't had any issues. I have like graphics on the highest setting, and I pack my showrooms like there's everything going on.
Yeah, I really want to get in there. So I tried the client a while back, and so I have a powerful computer, and I need it basically to run this whole setup right here. But it would bog down my computer. I would get like the blue screen of death, and I'm just scratching my head like, what is going on? I know I have a good computer, but this thing was just not working. And so I kind of walked away from it. But I did speak with the comic guy last week, and he said, give it another try. And so I definitely want to do that. And what I want to do is I want to showcase that showroom on Future Watch. Because that is more of our diverse Web3 show where we can go to all the projects and really showcase them and stuff like that. But like, I want to try to give it another chance. But besides collecting on Vivi, I also collect and Candy. I also collect McFarlane Toys Digital. And I really love those collectibles because I'm a big DC fan. I'm waiting for Savage Dragon, guys, if you're hearing me, by the way, comic guy. Please petition Savage Dragon. Keep going, DrKinon.
Yeah, and one thing I love about the McFarlane project is, I can use Polygon, so I always wait for those nice dips, and then I rush in real quick.
Oh yeah, me too, man.
Do a quick purchase, transfer the funds, right? So I use MetaMask and Coinbase Wallet. Well, it's good to diversify, right?
Yeah.
And then get some pretty cool wins. So
nice.
Both for McFarlane and Vivi, I've always been the person, the patient person waiting for someone to floor it for, well, I'll put it in terms of gems, like 5, 10, 15 gems below the floor, and I'm just waiting there. And then if it's a palindrome, that's even better.
He's the guy buying all the deals because I'm the same thing. I look at McFarlane every day because I scored a Jim Lee Superman for 10 gems. If we're talking in gems,
okay,
10 gems. Now go and look and see how much that Jim Lee Batman or Superman costs now, right? It's like, and I was waiting for. In fact, here I was gonna wait, but it's the representation off of this book.
Oh yeah,
where he's like standing on the peak right there. Oh, anyway,
yeah, it's that one, right? Oh yeah. Is it like that?
That's the one. That is the one right there. Yes.
You guys are matchy.
That's the one, guys. That's the one.
Nice.
And I really like McFarlane Toys, and I love the concept of digital. So I kind of collected some physicals of. Hold on.
Oh, shout out to Chris Severs. He said palindromes. Let's go, DrKinon.
Does this look familiar?
Oh
yeah.
So this is on Vivi.
Yeah.
Right, and then also.
Oh, I like this.
And it's a McFarlane toy, and then this is also on Vivi.
Oh yeah,
also,
that one.
Also from McFarlane.
Wow.
Okay, so you're more of the collectibles guy then. You're not really into the comics. We're not yet anyway. I think we were talking in the
Mhm.
backstage, kind of like, well, I think we're jumping all over the place here, but
Mhm.
so essentially you found this space because you were trying to get into crypto, you're trying to hedge your bets, and it kind of led you to digital collecting, led you to VV,
Mhm.
and led you to down the rabbit hole where you could find Pinnacle. I also collect Pinnacle. I've got a bunch of
Right.
the version ones of the pins. I'm also in McFarlane.
Mhm.
I'm also a Bat Cow owner, 15. So I'm with you. I
Mhm.
collect all over the place. I don't just collect in one basket, and I've been enjoying this. And
Oh
so for
yeah, yeah, for
me,
sure.
I came here for the value aspect. I came here
Mhm.
from TradFi. I wanted to invest in a different type of asset. And so I
Right.
learned about
Mhm.
NFTs from, believe it or not, my chiropractor. So
There you go.
he's all cracking my. Have you ever heard of like these Bored Ape yachts? You know what I mean? He's cracking my back. Like, no, but do tell me, right? You know what I mean? A good
That's
friend of
funny.
mine. So but
Mhm.
yeah, and this is how I got here. But so essentially you found VV, you found this. Was VV the first I'm assuming that was the first project you got into that led you down the rabbit hole to everybody else.
Yes. I'm trying to think. Yes. That is a fact. Yep.
Okay. So when did you
Well,
when did you
and it's it's easy, right? And
Mhm.
I think that's why it took me a little bit of time to get involved in McFarlane.
yeah.
And again, it's growth, right? So in order to buy drop heads, I needed what? I needed to purchase Matic,
Dramatic.
Polygon, right? I did transfer
Mhm.
it to a hot wallet, MetaMask, for example. Then I'd
Yeah.
have to connect to OpenSea, make the purchase. So by learning how to do that, then I was ready for McFarlane toys. Before that, VV was easy. I think I honestly don't remember the first thing I purchased on VV, but I just use the Apple Pay, right? You look into your phone, click the button a couple times, it charges your connected credit card, and you're done, right?
Yeah. Hide the
So,
wires.
The
Or as
easy button, as Chris
the
says.
easy button, as this man loves to say.
oh
So
yeah,
Yep.
for sure, yeah, yeah, the easy button. So, but again, with sophistication, that led me, basically from drop heads to McFarlane, and now I'm like super comfortable with the whole concept of moving cryptocurrency this way, that way, purchasing this, putting it here, putting it over
familiar. You're
here.
familiar to it. Yeah.
Exactly. But again, it's a learning curve. It's like anything,
For sure.
So
Mhm.
if people really want to learn it, with videos like your videos or AI, you can learn anything.
But I think over
Yeah.
time, that easy button will be more prevalent. It's kind of getting there already.
Hmm.
I mean, look at Pinnacle. You just need credit cards. You could do the same thing. Apple
Yeah.
Pay, boom, you're done.
Yeah, that's it.
Candy, you can use credit card right there too. Boom, you're done.
Mhm.
So I just think even
Mhm.
more so it'll get the hide the wires approach will happen even more. I mean, there's even like
Right.
AI agents out in there, like the banker bot. You just like type to it, like, I want to buy ETH here and put it in my wallet, or I want to transfer here, or I want to bridge this here, and you just that's it, and it's hide the wires. So it's just going to be
Hmm.
more and more. And if people are paying attention to AI agents, I really feel like that's where the services and the experience are going to go. But
Hmm.
that's another conversation for a different topic at this time. Um, so essentially, you
Yeah, that's
found VV. You're not really
mhm.
sure what you bought.
It was a
But
comic book.
oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah. So my first purchase was a comic book, and I actually only bought comics in the beginning because I wasn't too sure about digital collectibles, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
comics exists, and I was watching a lot of comics and crypto and my collectibles, and you can like have some idea of the value of the digital based on the physical. So
Yeah.
like that
Right.
made sense to me. My first collectible though, I believe was Electra, and the reason was
Fro would be so proud.
yeah, well, and do you know what the reason was?
Bro's smiling from ear to ear. I know.
I know, 'cause everyone always talks about Electra, right? But the reason was, I believe at the time, someone was flooring. I think it was the common. I think it was like $20. I don't even know. But I was like, I'll buy it because I want to like test out AR. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was a good price point, so I was like, go for it. But yeah, that was my first collectible. But then I started to get more and more involved, and my kids really enjoy AR. And it's cool, you know, like you can stuff your showroom, put in AR, and it kind of like maps onto your house. So my kids are like running around the house, turning the corner, and there's like Batman. You know,
Oh,
I don't know
that's
if
so
you've ever
cool.
tried that. It's pretty fun. Like that's a memory that I'll always have of them just running around with they were using the iPad.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I was like, hope no one crashes. But yeah,
Well, I think our daughter had
Mm.
that same experience, and so like, and she's like, she's 12 going on 13
Mhm.
soon. She's a teenager basically, but when we
Oh,
first
cool.
started, she really loved that stuff. She was into like the Myrmicornos, and you know, she'd
Mhm.
run around with our phones and play around with that. And then
Right.
she kind of dropped off, and only now she's regained interest in the platform because of the VVverse. But
Yeah.
I say this because our kids know this type of stuff. They know this product. They know what digital products are. They know what skins are. Roblox,
Mhm.
Minecraft. They're
Mhm.
familiar to this stuff. So for them, this isn't crazy. But if you go and talk to your neighbor across the street and be like, "I'm buying digital products," what? You're buying a screenshot, basically, right? I've had this
Mhm.
conversation with my family. Get up on Thanksgiving dinner anymore, DrKinon. So, but
That's
you were
funny.
talking about your kids.
Well, yeah, I think they're getting more and more used to it. Like I said, so I'm one of my jobs. I'm a professor, so I have office hours, and so kind of in the downtime, like I'll just hop on, you know, McFarlane Toys, for example, and we'll be messing around the showroom, and you know, I'm waiting for a student to pop in. But
Yeah.
so my kids love that. They're playing with that. I I have the VV Comics app on the iPad. We're currently reading Spider Boy, which is excellent. If you're not reading Spider Boy, y'all should. I'm gonna give Spider Boy that plug. So, and then every single Star Wars comic. So so you're a huge DC fan. I'm a huge Star Wars fan.
Okay.
Huge.
Good to
Like
know.
I feel like I can't get enough of Star Wars. I'm currently listening to uh Darth Plagueis on Audible, which is a really good
Okay.
book. Mhm. So,
Nice.
mhm.
What did you like the new announcements? You have like Star Wars Starfighter. There's the new Mandalorian and Grogu movie I seen. Or better yet, let's rewind. There was that new series that came out with those kids. What was that series called? It was
Oh yeah, yeah.
Skeleton Crew.
Yeah, we watched it.
How did you like that?
Yeah, I thought it was good.
I
You know,
enjoyed it,
it wasn't
man.
like
It was Treasure Planet. It
yeah, it
was
wasn't
Treasure
like
Planet
Clone.
in disguise,
Yeah,
right?
no, and you're right. That's funny that you bring that up. Yeah, it totally was. You know, I was gonna say it was nothing like Clone Wars or Rebels, right?
Yeah.
Like and Bad Batch, like those are probably our favorite series, you know, and we've watched them all together, and they really just uh develop characters, develop the plot line. I feel like if you take out those shows, like the story gets a lot thinner.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
It
Like,
adds to the lore as well as
mhm,
the context of the timeline, right? The continuity, I
yeah.
guess.
Well, and even shows like Book of Boba Fett. Like, you
I
know what I
enjoyed
mean?
that. I
Like,
really enjoyed that. But I'm not a big Star Wars
mhm,
fan, right? So like an example is like if like
mhm.
Star Trek. I'm a Trek. I like Star Wars, by the way. That's why
Oh,
I
cool.
love Skeleton Crew, like with
Mhm,
the kids. Like when you add kids into the mix of anything, it's like a Stranger Things vibe or a Goonies vibe. And that's the type of vibe I
right.
like. I can go and sit down and watch with my family. It's very wholesome. But like when it comes to Star Trek, it's a little bit more what's the word? I don't want to say clean. It's a little bit just more no dust on. There's no dust on the shelves, kind of a thing with Star Trek. But when
Mhm,
they start messing with certain lore or continuity, I will
mhm.
get staunch on it, right? And they've done that in my fandom. I'm not happy
Oh,
with
no.
what they've done, and I've heard similar things with Star Wars. Like
Mhm,
they've messed with the lore. There's certain things, so I can kind of relate to that in a sense when it
mhm,
comes to certain shows with Star Wars, if
mhm,
that made any sense.
mhm.
Keep going.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, I was just gonna say, you know, like Book of Boba Fett. Really, without the Book of Boba Fett, who is Boba Fett? You know, he shows up in what? Return of the Jedi,
Yeah.
episode 6. You know, well, sorry, 5, right? 5 and 6. You know, 6 is where he goes into the Sarlacc. Hopefully, that's not a spoiler for anyone.
Well,
But
I
if
think
it
we
is,
know
that's
he's
like
still
your
here.
bad.
He's still around.
Yeah, it's like not my fault.
No, but I
So,
understand what you're saying.
yeah,
Context matters.
yeah. So that's why, you know, we're totally into those shows and Ahsoka and all that. So I have some. So I might turn this into show and tell.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Oh.
Oh, look at that. We're gonna blow you up real quick. Let's show this out.
Oh my gosh, Chris, are you seeing this? I hope you are.
Yeah, so it's just the
Oh
Black
my
Series
gosh.
helmet, but they're pretty cool.
Oh.
So Boba Fett,
Wow.
and then I have the clone troopers. I guess showing loyalty, if you will, to Ahsoka, right? Because this literally looks like Ahsoka's face.
There he is. Look at Chris.
That's pretty cool, huh? Yeah, this is a fun helmet. So
That's awesome.
and then I have one last one.
Okay, here we go. Bring him back. Bring him back.
And this is Trapper Wolf's helmet from the Mandalorian. And do you know who plays Trapper Wolf?
No.
Dave Filoni.
Really?
Yes.
No way. Now,
So
be
that's why I
honest.
had to
You
buy it,
wear
'cause-
that. Be honest. You wear that. You wear that when you drive your car, right?
He cosplays.
Yes, I actually did wear it in a video. I didn't post it yet because I was having some editing issues. But
Oh.
yes, I have definitely worn that. So
You got to wear that in the
Oh.
drive-through. Literally, just pull up in the drive-through and be like,
Yeah.
"Yo, I'll get a Big Mac." You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's
so-
Filoni. I didn't know that was Filoni either, man.
yeah,
That's
yep,
crazy.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Okay, so now we're talking about Star Wars.
Mhm.
Let's really hone in on that. How do you like where the series is going? I loved Andor, by the way. I love that
Mhm.
slow burn. I like that
Yeah.
world building, character building type of shows. Like
Mhm.
that was one of my favorite movies. Actually, was what was the name of that Star Wars movie? See, this is how bad I am. It was
Rogue
the one
One?
before A New Hope. Rogue One. Yes,
Yeah.
I really enjoyed Rogue One a lot.
Yes.
That end scene where Vader's just chopping everyone up, just try to get, you know what I mean? It just blew my mind. But how are you liking where they're taking your fandom?
Yeah, well, I feel like it just depends, like where you look. My main focus: Clone Wars, Rebels. I love the shows. So what do we have? Obi-Wan, that was huge, right? Ahsoka was
Yeah.
huge. We already
Yes.
mentioned Book of Boba Fett, Mandalorian. So to me, those are all epic. Some of the movies so far, I'm gonna be honest with you, they're kind of they're fine. To me, the shows are better though.
Yes.
You know, so I think that's if I had to give an official answer, that'd be my official answer.
I completely agree on that. Now I know people don't like what is it? Oh, what were the last 3 movies? Was it 6, 7, 8? Was that it?
7, 8, 9. But
7, 8, 9? Okay, so I know people want to forget that, but that is like my daughter's. Now my daughter's a Star Wars fan. She's a big fan of Rey and that
right. That makes
that
sense.
trilogy, right? Yeah, I mean she
Right.
grew up with that. So like I understand and I remember when Phantom Menace first came out. Everybody pooped on that in the reviews were terrible. Everyone did not like that, but that became someone's entry into Star Wars. That was their trilogy, you know, Qui-Gon and all those guys, the pod racing scenes. People got into that. I got into Star Wars through A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back. And I gotta be honest, mine was Return of the Jedi. That was my favorite one. I just love that end scene where I'm in the ships, right? With the Millennium Falcon flying through the Death Star, and they're in the belly of the beast and they blow it up, right? Just a ragtag team of spaceships blowing up this monstrosity right there. So that was my favorite movie from the old trilogies.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that totally makes sense what you're saying regarding your daughter. I grew up with episode 1, 2, and 3. I believe it was like high school, college for me. And but again, I'm gonna drive the point home. What's better than episode 1, 2, and 3? episode 1, 2, Clone Wars, and then episode 3.
Context, everyone.
Do you
Context.
see what I mean? Yeah, and I just feel like, and that was I feel like whatever Filoni and Favreau touch, in my opinion, it's golden. So
yeah, no, for sure. And like, so because when Ahsoka came out, D and I never watched Rebels, and so we literally crammed Rebels in really quick.
Oh, good.
Before
Yeah.
Ahsoka came out, so we already had the context ready for it, and
Mhm.
I loved it. I know some of the Star Wars fans didn't like where they went with Ahsoka, but for us, being like from the outside looking in and kind of getting to know the lore now, we enjoyed it. It was something that we looked forward to every single week. Now, some of them we didn't enjoy. I think I dropped out of Acolyte. Was it Star Wars Acolyte? I think after episode 3, I stopped watching. Acolyte.
Yeah.
I couldn't watch it anymore. So there's some I couldn't watch, and I stopped. But I think the recent one that we really loved the most was Skeleton Crew. It was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. That was really
so. D, I've been yapping away over here. You want to add anything to this?
Well, regarding Star Wars, like I'm not knowledgeable at all in the order or whatever it comes in or it goes as far as storyline. But I do remember when I was younger, I used to go over to my cousin's house, and her dad is like the biggest Star Wars fan ever that I know of in real life. And so he had VHSs of like each, what are they called? Not chapters, they're called episodes, right? The movies.
Yeah. 4, 5, and 6, I'm assuming.
Yeah, so he had like the whole collection on this bookshelf or VHS display case thing, and it was right by the front door. So when you walked in, that's all you saw was there's a shoe rack, and then there's all his Star Wars collection. And he would get so mad if anyone touched it or like moved the order it was in. And I really wasn't told that in the beginning. And so I was just like, looking at it, and all of a sudden I started getting yelled at. I'm like, oh no, like what did I do? And it was because I touched his precious collection, and he didn't want any of that. I'm like, oh my gosh, okay. I know now, as soon as I come through the front door, I'm just gonna continue on walking and not even look at your display case. But I was like, this guy's so crazy about Star Wars. Like, what's so special about Star Wars? But
collecting is a serious matter.
Yeah.
They cannot
I found that out. I found that out.
It's funny. So I have a 7-year-old, a 4-year-old, a 2-year-old, and my wife's actually pregnant, and we have one on the way at the end of May. So and they're all boys. So four boys. So as you can see behind me, this is just a fraction of my office, and I definitely have to teach them to be nice. Please just don't rip them off the shelf. So but it's definitely a good learning experience, and I think it's awesome that I get to interact with my kids with all these cool fandoms, whether it's related to McFarlane Toys or Star Wars, through all the helmets. They love the helmets, the pops, and other things like so I used to play. Do you know what this is?
What is that? I can't remember.
Anyone? Let's see.
I'm trying to see. Wait, how do I blow you up? Let me see here. Solo? Oh, here you go.
Yeah. So,
okay, what is that?
So when I was growing up, I was really into Blizzard games, including Warcraft. Okay, so I started playing Warcraft 2, eventually Warcraft 3. When I was at a grad school, I started playing World of Warcraft. That was like literally the second full-time job. Yeah, you got it. So and I was always the paladin, human paladin, and I played it all. I was DPS, damage per second, tank, and healer.
Well,
But
what's a paladin?
a paladin is like a cross between a knight and a priest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Follower of the light and everything that's good. If you know about Dungeons and Dragons, a paladin would be lawful good,
Oh, okay.
which is like the most extreme form of good. But so I have all these characters set up on my desk, and they're basically fighting in a dungeon. I'm kind of like Warcraft and Diablo, which is another Blizzard
Whoa.
game. But I have all these characters set up on my desk right next to me, and they're fighting a scary creature. We'll just put it that way.
You have him like in a battle mode on your desk?
Yeah. But again, it's
That's really
awesome.
cool.
And again, that's a reason I love collecting, because the kids totally get into it, and they see the scene. I always find them trying to adjust the scene, which is fine with me as long as they're not, damaging the figures.
Yeah, making sure they're playing nice with it. That's really cool. Even Jesus said that he just started playing again, so that's really cool.
Oh, nice, druid. Okay, yeah, I never played a druid. I played, like I said, paladin, and then that was my main. We call it a main, right? That was my main character. My secondary was a holy priest, so I was a healer in dungeons and raids, and then my tertiary, I was a shaman healer. So
Man, so you're like into a whole bunch of stuff. So that's really cool because even like I've heard of these like World of Warcraft and the Dungeons and Dragons. It's just stuff that I never personally got into. Like I've seen people playing with it, even like the Magic. I'm gonna butcher this. Magic of Gatherings. Magic. No, I'm saying that wrong.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Magic
yeah.
the Gathering.
Magic Gathering.
Okay,
Magic
so that's
the
something
Gathering.
else. I'm really I was really involved in, and I plan to get really involved when my kids get a bit older. But yeah, I used to play in state tournaments, Grand Prix.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a great card game.
Yeah.
It's ridiculously expensive though. Like honestly, if you're going to a tournament, like your deck's probably gonna cost like a couple grand. Like literally
wow.
a couple grand of cards to play. But again, if it's like anything, right? If it's something you're like doing every day, then it's worthwhile, right? So if you're on VV Comics and you're reading a comic to yourself, your kids, whoever, every single day, then it's worth the expenditure.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? If you're not, well, I don't know, maybe it's not, unless you see it as like an investment. But yeah, I see it as both. Because I'll give you an example. I could buy some comics, read them. I don't really like them. Sell them. I never sell for a loss. So I always at least break even, or I'll get some sort of gain.
Do you sometimes sell for the opportunity cost to like maybe sell for a loss to get the gain out of it?
Yeah, so sometimes if I don't want to put any gems in, and so I'll try to sell something real, but it's still never a loss.
True, exactly.
So, well, no, but meaning, I will rarely, no, even still, I won't sell for the loss. Like at that point, if something's such a good price, I'll just go for it. But there's one way to play it, right? So if you buy something for 30, right, and then it drops, and now you could get it for 10, and you believe it's worth a lot more than 10, right? So it's 30 plus 10 plus 10. Let's say you buy it twice, divided by 3. So it'd be. So now your cost went down to $14 the collectible. You see what I mean?
Really quick. Can I play this real quick?
Yeah.
Get that.
There you go.
Get out of the way. We're covered.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, sorry. But it makes sense, right? So like if you're like, wow, I think I spent too much, right? So again, so 30, and then it drops to like 10, for a while. So you buy another one, and then maybe you buy another one for 10. So that's 50 gems divided by 3. Now your cost is what, like 16.5 1.6 if I did the math right. So in that case, then I'd be willing to flip the one I spent 30 on, for 18. I'll take the loss.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
No, I know exactly what you mean. Not everybody's gonna do the math and figure that out, right?
But again, that's a capital loss. Now you can flip into another collectible. So again, you have to know what you're doing. Not financial advice, but do your research.
We're
you know what I
covered,
mean?
man.
Like,
We're covered, man. No, I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
It gets a little hairy in these streets. No,
I know. That's why we've said it now a million times, right?
But get back to the Magic the Gathering. I have a funny story about Magic the Gathering. I never played it. I've never played it, but I was in the computer lab. I was a computer aide my senior year, and so I made sure that for my elective that I chose computer aide twice. And the reason I did that is I had the run of the computer lab on Wednesdays, because then the actual teacher would never show up, because he would trust me to run the whole lab. You know what I mean? Yeah, because we would rotate between people that were trusting. So I remember second period, it would be the newspaper people would come in. So once they leave, it would be recess. And so I used to let all the Magic people go in there and play cards, because they had nowhere to do it, because you couldn't do it in the cafeteria. They would ban you from that. You couldn't do it outside. But they said you could do it in classrooms if the teacher allowed it. Well, guess who was the aide that day? And so I would let all them do that. And all they would have to do was give me some corn nuts or give me something like that. It would be a bartering system. Hey, come inside. But you got to pay to play. And I did that for the first and second recesses. Remember, I told you I would have that class twice a day, and I planned that to coincide with the recesses, either before or after. But then, it was so cool because even though I didn't play the game, all these people would come in there. I mean, there would be like 8 or 9 kids in there, and they would just be playing it. They'd have their passions, and I would give them the 5-minute ring. Yo, you guys got to get out in 5 minutes because I got a class coming in, right? And they're like, come on. I'm like, what do you mean, come on? You guys got to get to class. But they were such an enthusiastic bunch, and I used to love that, because at the end of the day, people enjoying their passions is something that I like to see. It makes you feel good inside. And so, it was cool. And my the computer teacher knew what I was doing, but as long as there was no foul in that, everything was cool. And so throughout that whole senior year, I was the place where people would go play Magic the Gathering, the computer aid, the computer class. So,
well, thank you for allowing that.
Of course,
that's awesome. You should
Star Trek nerd over here, right? So
you should have asked them for payment in Black Lotuses. You could flip those and buy a lot of Bitcoin or whatever. So
corn nuts and like a Pepsi can or something is all I cared about, right? I never used to ask for cash or anything like that. But
man, so you were
I was
young.
an easy date.
Yeah, you were young back there. You were getting liabilities instead of assets.
Corn nuts was a currency back then.
Well, if everybody knew my story of what I used to do, I used to sell my lunch and buy comic books as a kid. So
there you go.
I always was trying to be savvy to because I grew up in a poor family, so I had to figure out how to get means for myself. So that's how I would do it. Yeah. But I just remember those kids; they had such a good time in there, and they were respectful. That's what I love, right? If I had the jocks go in there, they would trash the place, but they would make sure that the seats were pushed back in. They'd wipe the tables down if they spilled anything. The biggest thing is do not get any computers wet with soda. Do not. You know what I mean? We are all done if that happens. Well,
no, but even worse than the computer, we do not allow any sort of drink on the table. So imagine you're at a tournament, you have a few hundred, a couple thousand in a deck, and someone spills a soda on your deck. Granted, all these cards are double sleeved, but no, it even comes to a point, just to tell you how serious people are in that community. If I don't like how you're shuffling my deck, right? Because you have an opportunity to shuffle my deck.
Okay.
I don't like how you're doing it. I call the judge, and the judge will shuffle the deck. Because I'm like, don't touch I don't want you touching my cards.
Wow.
No, it gets that serious.
I didn't know it was that serious.
You wearing gloves?
Yeah, and that's totally legal. Yeah. Well, but yeah, everything is all at least double sleeved. Someone might try to throw in a third sleeve. I don't know.
Oh,
Sheesh. Well,
double
yeah,
bag it.
yeah, I think the reason why they kept the place so nice, was because they knew they had a safe place to go and
They
actually,
did.
Yeah.
do what they really loved. And if they mess it up, then where are they gonna go? Behind the buildings somewhere?
That was the understanding, right? And so, like, for me, growing up in high school, I was one of those kids where I got along with everybody. I got along with the jocks. I got along with, like, I never like to call people nerds. You know what I mean? Because I know deep down inside they don't like to be called that. It's just like, they just love their fandom. I call them the Magic Kids or something like that. You know what I mean? Or the Star Trek kid. Everyone knew I was a Trekkie in high school, right? But at the same time, like, I was cool with everybody. The Motorheads, the freaking band kids, the drama kids. Everyone was welcome in Hinano's world as long as you didn't mess anything up. If you mess stuff up, we're all screwed. You know what I mean? This is the lay of the land. It's like Dee's policy. Don't be a dick and you don't get kicked out. So
that's a good policy.
Yeah, I think
and
that
this is
covers
before I met you,
everything.
Deeds. Before I met you.
And I think that's kind of like, in a way, how, like, us three at least, because we've been talking about a lot of different platforms. It's also like you were saying, and you got along with, pretty much the different cliques in school.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how, like, in a way, now as adults, and we have our own money, we are able to also diversify and collect in different, platforms, and just kind of, see the things that we love to collect, maybe when we were younger, heroes that we looked up to when we were younger. Now we're able to collect them, whether it's physically, digitally, digitally. But now we're doing that as adults. And so I think, like, that's kind of cool, like, to kind of compare the two of us, like, back when we were younger, practicing that kind of way of life, and then also bringing it now into, like, the Web3 space and just kind of diversifying, which I really love seeing, because for me personally, I don't like to just be stuck in, like, just one thing.
Right.
I like to explore and check out other stuff, because I may like, for example, like Wonder Woman, and she may be like, I may be able to collect her on BB. She's also on DC, so I can collect her there, the comics. I can get her on McFarlane. So, like, all the different things that I like growing up, it's like there's so many different, I guess, like, stores to collect them from, not just like one store. And I think it's really cool when I find, like, other people like yourself that also, like, love so many different things, and, like, that's what makes you happy. And you're able to share it with your family and have your kids join in on it. La 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 la. Oh my gosh.
A little dusty.
Oh,
Need to dust.
I got that one. I got that one in gold too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So I actually bought a couple of these because I wanted 2 of those golden Wonder Woman from McFarlane, because I heard about that utility and I'm just like, this is some pretty sweet utility.
We don't have to mention about that utility on air. If they don't know, they don't know. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. So,
but yes, that utility is phenomenal. We definitely have our gold Wonder Womans.
Yeah. Good. Good. Yeah. I think that's a good play, not financial advice.
Yeah. We know nothing here. Don't listen to us. But before we continue, guys, I want to remind everybody that we do have a supported, sponsored giveaway from McFarlane Toys Digital. If you want to win something from them, type in hashtag Superman, and guys, this is what you could win. So good luck to you, and we will do that at the end of the show. Continue, guys. Sorry.
So speaking of fidgetals, do you have all the wave? What is it? Wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4?
So unfortunately, I
Some.
started collecting McFarlane when I started seeing them release Power Girl and all these other things. So I'm kind of late to the game on the physical side, but when it came to the digital, yeah, I never really owned a lot of the ones where I could get the early access. So I'm just like doing the biggest bro maneuver, which is the swap meet deals. I'm
Okay.
like you. I hide in the shadows and I wait for someone to floor something. Like I've been buying like the 40-year-old virgin. I found a bunch of
Oh,
those for
yeah.
like $10 and I start buying those. I mean, come on, first appearance of Steve Carell on Polygon.
I
Let's
know.
go.
Yeah.
Or the guy 40-year-old virgin, right? Matthew McConaughey. Or sorry, not that. It was what was the movie?
Oh, Dazed and
Um
Confused.
Dazed and Confused. 40-year-old virgin.
Okay.
Not
yeah.
the leather.
Not the yeah.
Well, watch the leather,
Sorry.
man.
Yeah. All right. So, but I love the IP there. I got some of the Daryl Dixons from Walking Dead. So I just wait.
Right.
I wait. Like, it's unbelievable. Some of the prices, like Batman for $3. You're
Mhm.
crazy. You know what I mean? And all of
Yeah.
a sudden you see the
Yeah.
floor, it's back up to like $40.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So again, I think once one interacts in the viewer app for McFarlane or the VVverse, that's totally going to influence what they buy. So I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
One of my favorite collectibles in the McFarlane viewer app is Blue Beetle.
Ooh.
Okay.
Oh,
Blue Beetle lights up. Carapax lights up. So the
Really?
yeah, you need to check them out. The Batmobile, the lights work, so you could get some really cool lighting effects.
You serious?
Oh,
I had
Swear,
no
the
idea.
The lights
that got
function.
him.
Yeah, so let me think. So the Batmobile, the lights work. Blue Beetle, there's
Really?
lights. Carapax, there's lights.
He sold already. He sold.
I think what else?
Your face.
Yeah, but yeah, they're pretty cool. So I'm working on building a scene with a bunch of Carapax. Right? They're basically like mechs, right? So it totally works out, right? Because you could have a whole lot of these mechs all set up, and same as the Blue Beetle. Anything with a mask, you could just, in my opinion, you could just duplicate them.
Like they're like Jaegers, right? They look like a Jaeger from Pacific Rim.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I just wanted to point that out. And I'm glad I was able to give you that. I don't know if we could call it alpha.
It was a light bulb aha moment. When you told me the lights turned on in the Batmobile, that sold me. I'm like, okay, because I was telling Comic Guy I want to actually go through the showroom and show it on camera. It's just I've never had a good experience, and so just to know that now the client is actually working pretty good because I got a really good computer. That's really good to know because I want to dedicate an episode on Future Watch mainly for McFarlane Toys to go through that showroom.
Yes,
okay,
absolutely.
so I told you I'm a professor, right? So I have a homework assignment for you.
Ooh, let's go. It's like
Homework.
radio over here.
You need to download.
Okay.
You need to download the viewer app and
I got you.
Get busy. Yeah, no, and again, like I'm running a Mac Studio. I forgot the exact processing speed, but the GPU is like 39 cores. So as long as you're somewhere around there, like I have everything on highest graphics. Yeah. And I'm literally packing these showrooms, like full to the brim. Everywhere I turn, I'm running into something.
Well,
and
how many
I never
collectibles
have
you got in there? How many collectibles you got in there?
Let's see. I actually opened it. So.
Oh, you can actually run it while you're streaming. So like when you're trying to like stream the VVverse, like for the most part, my computer can handle all that as long as I'm not trying to do intricate things on this platform. So
240.
Shout out to Stormy Bear right there for gifting 5 memberships, and we got to change that. It's got to say True Media Group. It still says the Real Uncommon Podcast. I'm still working on it, guys.
Gosh, yeah.
Real Uncommon Podcast doesn't want to
Places we're
leave.
in. We're just in too many places.
Okay, shout out to Ochoa Lofts, Bruin, DZ, Tennant, and Smurf Dabs. You guys all got a membership as well, and you can get a free digital collectible that will be phased out soon. So reach out to D at the end of the program and message her for that free NFT.
That is weird.
What?
I see it as True Media Group on my phone, but it pops up as Real Uncommon Podcast on our chat thing.
Yeah, guys. So in StreamYards, it still says the Real Uncommon Podcast. Okay, never mind.
Okay,
StreamYards, keep up, man.
User error. My bad.
Right.
Anyways, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So I currently have on McFarlane, I have 266 collectibles.
In your showroom?
Oh, in my showroom? I'm not sure, honestly.
Okay.
I was gonna say
More,
you picked up
more than
more.
10 though, right?
Mhm.
You picked up more because I did go and do some research on you just to prep, for today, and
Oh, okay.
and you had like I think 241 at that time,
Oh,
and
yeah.
yeah, and I was also curious because it says that you're ranked number 25 out of like how many do you know?
Oh, I'm not sure. So it's based on daily points. So right now I'm in the McFarlane viewer app and I'm ranked 24. So like there's different
Oh,
tiers and I'm in like top 100.
nice.
Oh.
But yeah,
Yeah.
again, it's like just like MCP,
Mhm.
you need to like know the sets you're collecting because you get bonuses for having like sets.
See, I never really paid attention to
Mhm.
us being able to collect points.
Mhm.
So that's another cool thing to notate too, Hinano, when you get the maybe I should also do my homework and get the viewer app and get collecting on that. So I can start collecting points because that sounds like a great deal. I know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's cool. It's cool. And yeah, y'all definitely need to get the viewer app. So
Yes,
you both
we'll
have the
work on that.
assignment. Should I give you a week? Like, I don't know.
As a follow up.
You know what? Short.
What's the deadline?
Say you got till Monday. So done and doneer, as
Yeah.
Ted Lasso says.
Done.
So,
What do you think about the comic book sets on Vivi?
I think it's cool, and
Mhm.
so I broke up a lot of my sets back in the day. So I mean, for me, like at least like I'm not one of those that like held the sets throughout this time. I can go and recollect them if I want. But I think it's
Mhm.
good for the people that really like the comic books. I'm really drawn to the comic books on the
Mhm.
VV side more than the collectibles. I've been buying collectibles mainly to show in my VV verse. So like
Mhm.
you make a good point about it. Kind of changes like the direction or strategy of what you do in certain projects and experiences. So like specifically for collectibles now, I'm looking at what I want to build and on how I want it to look like in specifically my BB verse. Now, when it came to the comics, it's just
Mhm.
I'm a comic collector. Right behind me, DrKinon, I've got like
Mhm.
I think there's
Too
like
many boxes.
I've lost count. I think there's like maybe 16 short boxes behind me, and there's a bunch in the garage. I mean, like
Oh,
I've
wow.
got comic books right here.
Mhm.
You know, what I mean, that's like so. I'm a comic collector. I love comics. I wish they had DC, but now with the announcement with Futureverse and Candy, I feel like that's going to even elevate that experience as well as
Mhm.
that platform. And I've said before in the past, I've never sold one DC book.
Mhm.
So for me, I like it. I think it's good for the platform and the people that like to collect on the platform.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see where that goes, right? And it's not
Yeah, are
just
you
a partnership. Like literally, what is it? Is it called Futureverse?
Futureverse?
So
Yeah,
they like literally bought.
it's an acquisition.
Yeah, they acquired.
Okay, wow,
Yeah.
Mhm.
that's interesting.
Now, I mean, like it all depends on your interpretation what they're going to be doing.
Mhm.
If you've been listening to what Aaron McDonald's been saying, and
Mhm.
I really pay attention. It seems like we're on our way to where we want it to be. Specifically, if you wanted to custody, I know some people don't really care for that, and that's okay, because I really believe we have to have different flavors in this space. There's good
Right.
that not that experience not going to be for everybody. Some people will really like what Vivi has to offer, the hide the wires, be safe, and you're on your mobile phone type of thing. And other people will like what Futureverse has to offer. Futureverse is very massive, and so I mean I know people are confused. When we
Mhm.
did Future Watch, that was our very first episode. We wanted to cover that project first. I had community members come on and really kind of try to educate our audience who doesn't understand that world. I mean, you literally just said you learned how to traverse crypto and buying crypto through my collectibles. Well, people
Mhm.
are going to be going through these learning curves with Futureverse, but I think over time, all these projects will have that hide the wire experience.
Right.
It's just that Vivi kind of beat them to the punch but it depends on what you want in this experience. Would you prefer someone take custody? And a lot of people are. It's like, would you prefer to have a bank, or would you prefer to be the bank? Right? That's kind of how I look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's definitely pros and cons to both.
Yes,
You know,
for sure. Yes.
And you know, I guess self custody does come with a bit of anxiety.
Yeah.
You know, so that's a
but that's
conversation
life.
that's been going on. I know it is
for a long time. Yeah.
Yeah, that's life.
And again, you know, technically, you know, if you look at a bank, there's counterparty risk, so the money in there's not really yours.
Right. You know, especially if you want it back, it's like, well, wait a minute, I gotta wait. What? I gotta wait like 48 hours to get my money back. You know what I mean? Or I gotta wait a week or something like that. ACH transfers and all that. So it depends on, you know, your level of comfortability in this space, and it also depends if you really want to do your TLDR research, right? I mean, because you can learn how to do this. You can literally watch YouTube videos. You can ask community members to try to help you. You learn how to do it. You said that you learned from MC and his project. You know, we learned how to perpetuate our own project. We had to educate some of our own people. Some people,
that's AI.
You can even streamline it with AI now. So there are, you know, that TLDR moment is slowly going to fade, and it all depends if you're going to be, I don't want to say lazy, but you know what I mean? Like, do your homework.
Yeah. No, I totally get it. You know, and by the way, going back to the McFarland showroom, you're able to add multiple wallets. Do you see what I mean? And why am I bringing that up?
That's so cool. I didn't know that.
Down to diversification, right? So I'll give you an idea. I'll give you an example. I don't have both of my golden Wonder Womans in the same wallet.
Smart.
Yeah.
Okay, so there you go. So that's just an example. But yeah, I tend to, you know, if I have duplicates, why keep them in the same place?
Well, it's the same with whenever I mint something. I don't use my personal wallet to mint anything. You know, I mean, I basically use like a different wallet. You know what I mean? I like to call it the Ninja wallet. You know what I mean? And I use that one. And then even for giveaways, when we send people giveaways, we don't use any of our personal stuff. We use a giveaway wallet. And we make sure that giveaway wallet is isolated from our personal stuff. So, I mean, but we've done our TLDR. And even more so now, when we had to do it, it was a little bit harder back then because you really had to go and research how to do it. Dee just mentions AI. You can literally ask it how to do it, or you can ask it, please teach me, give me the step-by-steps. I am a caveman. List it as if I'm a caveman and explain it to me very slowly. And it'll do that. So like, like I said, it's all about, do you really want to do your homework, or would you just prefer to just hit the easy button? And a lot of people, they want the easy button, and that's why there's different experiences out here. And that's why I don't like to dog on any of the experiences, because, you know, different folks for different strokes, right? Pause. Yeah. So
different
strokes. Right. Yeah. Totally. Oh, another project that I'm involved in, I'm not actually too sure what happened to it or if it's still going, is Cryptoys. Do you know anything about that? Are they still going?
So from what Will has said is they are going through a restructuring, and they've also partnered with somebody, but they have not announced that partnership. They have been very active in their Discord, but they've also been very lacking on the information. So I'm hoping that changes, but it's good to know at least that they're active in that Discord. I've also noticed some of their top people have left. I think Freddie, he was the head art director. I can't I think that's what he was, but he left. He was basically the visionary that created what they looked like. And then also Dr. Punchman, he was a really he was a big friend of the channel. He helped me learn how to like get into AI music, as well as you know, kind of like steer me in the right direction on trying to copyright our own stuff. Because when you join the YouTube partner program, you're going to find this out. YouTube wants to monetize your ears, eyeballs, and everything that's attached to you. And no matter what type of royalty-free content you use, you're going to get bit in the butt. And so with AI, that was the way to go around that. And so if it wasn't for Dr. P, I would have never figured out, you know, how to do all this kind of stuff. So I want to give him a big shout out. And also he gave me a big inspiration on creativity, about being creative. You know, he was giving me the example on, and you guys can go and watch this. We actually interviewed the Cryptoys team, I think last year. And he was telling me on like when you create like a comic book, you know, you don't like map the whole thing out. You go from panel to panel to panel, and you don't finish the panel that you're working on and move to the next one. You make sure you finish that one panel, because then you're creating along the way. And I really took that concept and I put it into the production. And so, and we've had this conversation a year ago. And so by hearing him give me that concept, that idea, that allowed me to create what we have here. And so that's why a lot of people are like, wow, everything looks cool. It's because, you know, I've really taken to heart what people have told me in the past. And I've utilized that and I've made it my own. And so he was a big inspiration. But as for what's going on for Cryptoids, I really don't know what's going on. And I've seen Poof from time to time. You may not know. Poof's probably hiding in the background, Poof. But you know, I
think
love
he
that.
is.
I love that project because that was a project where my daughter really was involved with us. She loved the unboxing experience. She's a big Roblox fan. So like those little the Cryptoids, the chibi style was really her style, and so that was something that she could resonate with. So whatever's going on with them, I hope they stick around, because I really feel like we need everybody in this race to perpetuate this space. I am a big believer on rising tide lifts all boats. I've heard Will say it, I've heard David Yu say it, and I believe I've heard Todd say that. So you know, those are three big pillars out here, and I think if we all perpetuate the space together, we all succeed together. That's my motto anyway. What about you, Doctor?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And again, you vote with your money, so that's why I'm in all these different projects, because I would love to see all of them succeed. They're all, you know, so different, really. You know, they're all digital collecting, but they all bring something to the table. So do you know which Cryptoids that I'm collecting?
Like the character, or Star Wars, isn't it?
Star Wars.
You got it. I went in there, and then I think that was like the last project I joined. I don't think I joined anything after that. But that was after McFarlane and Pinnacle. And yeah, I went in there and I was like, man, there's some good deals. Like I want these Star Wars characters.
You can buy
which ones are you picking up?
Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
I'll be right back.
You know, I haven't looked at my account in probably months.
Yeah.
So like it was probably, I don't know, like 4 or 5 months ago, because we've been doing we've been so busy. Like today was my day off, and I was doing gardening. My wife has a baby shower, and I installed a door and painted it. You know, we've been doing all this stuff. You know, I guess you could call it nesting. So so I've been out of a few things. I've been less active on Discord. And mainly it's because I've been trying to focus more on X and just like, you know, creating some content. I'm mainly just experimenting right now. Yeah. And, you know, again, like you were saying, it's all about learning. I've hit like things that have kind of stalled me out, and I've had to find the time to actually sit down and do my research. So yeah, long story short, I haven't visited Cryptoids. I haven't logged into my account in a while, so maybe after this, I'm gonna go check it out.
Just make sure. Are you still here? Yes, I'm still here.
Yes, I am.
Just to touch base. Yeah.
So
yeah, I actually was checking it out last night because I was in their Discord, and there was a member in there that needed some help, and he or she had a question on the marketplaces and stuff, and so I was like, trying to tell them like step by step on how to do it, and I wrote out this whole long thing, and I was like gonna put it on like the main feed, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so long. So I ended up like just DMing it to them, and you know, just so they could just have it themselves. But that made me go on the website, just so like as I'm typing out the steps, I'm actually doing it. So I'm like, I'm telling him the correct way and not just kind of being vague, and then they get all confused and stuff. And so I looked in my backpack, and I'm like, oh, I still have these, and I still have my 5 unboxed ZooFO line. And so
cool.
Yeah, so that's like ones that I'm gonna say never, but never say never. That's one that I hope to never have to open, because I just want them like in that state, because that's the last of them, right? That's the last of
So
the
yeah,
UFOs.
they're vaulted. So I
Oh,
believe and so like the highest rarities I believe are vaulted. I forget what it's been such a long time, but I'm with her. So my favorite cryptoids has been the UFOs, but I do like the Mandalorian series. I'm
Hmm.
like the little cute Grogu's
Yeah,
and
oh, right.
yeah,
Yeah,
the little
yeah. I have those.
Mandos. Yeah,
yeah.
that was my favorite Star Wars line. Also, the
Me
Darth
too.
Maul just looked pretty crazy cool. You know, he's
Oh, it's
like a
crazy.
little yeah, he's
Mhm.
a
Oh yeah,
little
100%.
ratchet, cute looking Darth Maul, right?
Yeah,
So
he looks
Right.
crazy insane. I forgot which rarity it was, but he looks like all, yeah,
Well,
crazy.
and isn't one of the rarities like when he has the metallic legs?
yeah, I think that's the
The
is it the legendary?
Yeah, it probably
I think
is.
legendary, the one that before the
Oh no,
Grail.
it's Grail. Grail. I'm
Grail.
sorry. Yeah.
Well,
So
yeah,
it's
I'm not surprised. And again, going back to Clone Wars, uh, if y'all watch Clone Wars, all of a sudden, Darth Maul is a really meaningful character. He goes from you know, a brief appearance in episode 1, getting chopped in half, right,
yeah.
to like a huge character, more than you could ever imagine. So
Hence
Yeah.
again, another
context.
shout out to Clone Wars. There you go.
There you go. Jesus says Clone Wars is good, and so, but that's what I
Mhm,
love. So, like, I love context. So, like, not to veer
mhm,
away from Star Wars, but like as a Trekkie,
mhm.
I was upset that because sometimes the movies can ruin your fandom or your trilogy, right? And so, I was a big TNG fan, right? And
Mhm.
so, like, when
What's
the
TNG?
TNG, the Next Generation,
Oh, the
Picard, and
next
stuff
gen.
like that.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. And so when those movies ended, it ended on a flat note for me. You know, Data dies. Sorry, spoiler.
Oh,
And that's it. You know what I mean? It's like
uh-huh.
they rebuild the spaceship and that's it. That's the last you see of the Next Generation crew. And
Mhm,
so it was just recently they had a new series called Star Trek Picard. And it was kind of lame for the first 2 seasons. They really did not want to talk about the past and they wanted to like explore Picard as a really old man and it didn't work. And then the third and final season,
mhm,
this executive producer Terry Matalas stepped in and
mhm,
he decided that he wanted to give fans what they deserved, an ending to the Next Generation. And so that last season was just fan service. They brought back everybody. And not only did they bring back everybody, they brought the nostalgia. They brought the feel, the look, the sound, the feeling
mhm.
of Star Trek. You know, like I grew up in what we call the Rick Berman era. And that's
Okay.
basically the Next Generation, Deep Space Nine,
Mhm,
Voyager, and Enterprise. And
mhm,
so that feel came back in that last season. And like every episode was a movie and it was
mhm,
jam packed. It had every Star Trek lore that you could think of, every feel to the very
mhm.
end. And we finally, as fans, got to really get the ending we deserved. And so,
Oh,
like, I
cool.
feel like slowly that will trickle on to like all these other fandoms because at the end of the day, that's what you want. You
Mhm,
want it to feel like how it did before, but also be
mhm.
appealing to new people, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah, totally. Uh, one fandom that really needs that is Game of Thrones.
Yes. Man, they got at the
Uh,
end. I'm like, what happened? You know what I mean? It's like I still watched it to the end, but we don't think about that last season, right?
I
We
know,
feel
you
like
know,
That was the
we
best one. That was the best season. That was the best ending ever.
well, it was
uh
unexpected.
That's for sure.
very well. They ran out of source material, and then we found out they really needed it, huh? So
Yeah, yeah, I guess so. Those books are epic. I listen to them on Audible. They're like
Oh,
a
that's
sweet
cool.
like 60 hours each.
Whoa.
So, yeah. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I've never
yeah,
done that. Like, oh, sorry, you know.
no, go ahead.
Audible?
Yeah, like a long story or novel. Cause
Mhm.
I have Kindle, Amazon Kindle,
Oh, cool.
which I subscribe to, so I can read books. And there's the Audible version, but I've never tried it because I'm like, I think for me when I read it myself, whether it's the hard copy or digital, I like it at my pace, and then while I'm reading it to myself, I'm already like imagining and picturing what the scene is and how the characters are like acting out kind of in my brain. So I'm curious to see how it would be hearing someone else reading that to me at a certain pace. Yeah, I should try that out. That my homework list is getting long, Dr. Kenon.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of homework. But yeah, I so my my main job, I'm a researcher, so I work with a lot of data, right? So it's really a different part of the brain. So I can code, analyze data, whatever, while I'm listening to a book. So it's pretty cool. And then
Wow.
with teaching, and obviously a lot more is online now, but before COVID, I would literally be driving from university to university pretty much every day of the week. So you can imagine all the drive time. So again, if anyone has like a substantial commute time, Audible is a really good idea. And I've gotten through books that honestly I just don't have time to get through if I'm sitting in my home. There's just so many other things to do.
Yeah. I
So
feel you, especially if you're a family man.
yeah, so hey, try it out. They usually have a free trial, is what I'm trying to say,
Okay.
which
Yeah.
gets you like 1 credit, so you can get 1 book.
Oh,
So yeah, it's
okay.
worth it. Just try it out. If you don't like it, just get rid of it.
Cancel. Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then regarding Kindle, I believe Alexa can read certain books or maybe all the books to you.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
I tried that with World of Warcraft Paragons, which is
Oh.
It's not robotic. It's like nice and smooth and natural.
It sounds like Alexa. And
Okay.
yeah. Sorry, I had to end mine.
Ooh,
Those
this guy.
Yeah, those keywords, right?
Well, I don't like pineapple on my pizza. I know what he's doing right here. He's poking the bear.
Oh, there you go.
Anyways, I want to shift gears real quick,
Sure.
if you guys don't mind. I want to talk about your YouTube channel.
Okay.
Let's rewind. So, like, we go back to DrKinon. We met for the first time, and we were both not YouTubers. And so our inspiration was that meetup and meeting with people and wanting to continue the conversation, which led us down the road to this, now starting a media group in Web3.
Right.
And it's been a fun journey. And the one thing that I've loved the most throughout this journey is meeting people. I think it's the most valuable thing that we have gained through this is the relationships and the networking that we've been able to forge just by doing this. It's not a podcast. I was gonna say podcast. It's basically a media group. So what I liked about what we did here is there has been a lot of people come through these doors. We've met CEOs, artists, we've met enthusiasts like you, and it's really been humbling and also enlightening. At the same time, we've been able to branch out. We've hung out with crypto bros. We've hung out with like people that do artists and they've made their own mints and stuff like that. So it's been a very, very rewarding, and it's just been an eye-opening thing. And you asked like, oh, were you YouTubers? And in reality, we never started on YouTube. We started on X. When we started the channel, I did a poll. And Rob's stuff actually responded to us because the poll said, if we started a podcast, would you guys listen to us? And, the vote was varied. I think there was like 76 people that said they would do it. I'm like, that wasn't very encouraging. But
like, that's good enough for me.
But what was encouraging was Rob's stuff reached out and he messaged us and he said, this is a great idea. We need more people creating content. And so that kind of put a battery in our back. And so I think the first 3 episodes we tried, I think the first episode went well, number wise on X. And that was when Elon took over Twitter at the time. And he gave us long form video content before you could only do like 10, 20-minute videos. And so the idea was to keep the content at 15 minutes. And obviously now we are like the long form content channel here. We do live streams that can be 2.5, 3 hours. And we don't care if it ruins the algorithm. We don't care about the likes and the subscriptions, although we do. But what we really wanted was the engagement, right? Because if you don't have an engaged audience or an engaged community, why have a channel, right? And I know that you can like do shorts to get your watch hours and try to increase your numbers. We didn't want that. We wanted organic growth. And we're not even at 1,000 subs, but we've accomplished so much in such a little time with just the amount of people here because we have a following, we have a community. They keep the lights on. It's been very rewarding in that sense to do this, to create something out of nothing. And so when we moved to YouTube, it was Superstar Money that really convinced us to do that. And shout out to Joe and Rob. I don't think we would be here if it wasn't for Joe and Rob. We were going to quit because after our second and third episode, it did really bad. And it's not because of the guests. It's because, you know, we were new. We were the new kids on the block. People didn't know us. And so like, it's hard to break into this game to try to get people to watch you. Right. But that's when Joe said, you know, you guys would really do well on YouTube. Try it out. And we did. And then I think our fourth episode was Kid Arcade. And that's when I really started to get my stride. I started like being very creative. I remember I think it was D and Duck and Cover that interviewed Arcade, and that interview, that experience, being able to be the man down below. Like, I don't know if you ever watched Joe Rogan with the guy Jamie, right? Well, I was the guy Jamie, like, you know, pushing the buttons, recording and getting everything right. And that really put a battery in my back, and we're off to the races. We started doing more. We started being more creative. We started really pushing the envelope of what we could do here on this channel. You know, we started changing our gear and really, really honing in our skills. And this is who we are today. And so a lot of this inspiration came from the community. Now I come on to you. You now have a channel. What inspired you to do this? And, you know, what's the goal of what you're trying to do?
Well, so just interacting, like I said, with my kids, and you know, playing the VV-verse, McFarlane Showroom, reading them comics. I thought to myself, well, there's something fun we could do together. Like I've only done a couple tests using like OBS because it's 60 frames per second. Because I'll tell you what, like a big stumbling block for me has been YouTube, right? So as a professor, right, everything's I mean, sorry, Zoom, not YouTube. As a, you're like, what? No,
I've tried Zoom. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Okay. As a professor, everything is Zoom. Okay. The problem is, one of my first videos, I tried to share both the VV-verse and the McFarlane Showroom, but I was getting terrible skipping. Skip. And then you find out, again, after you do some research, that Zoom gives you anywhere between 5 to 20 frames per second on average. Well, you need really 60 frames per second. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean.
If you're showing the McFarlane Showroom or the VV-verse. Okay, so then I left Zoom for a period of time and then started using OBS. So I learned that, and it worked out. I filmed a couple videos. Then I got super busy. So at one point I'm like, okay, yeah, I need to make more of these videos interacting in the showroom because I think they're important. And here's why. More people should be involved in digital collecting. And I feel like one of the reasons maybe people are not as involved is there aren't enough people sharing. Like, for example, I think McFarlane, like VV has more exposure, but I believe McFarlane Digital is an amazing project. And I really, and I'm glad you all have the homework to check out the viewer app, because you'll see it's amazing. And that was one of the huge reasons why I was like, I want to start making some content. And honestly, like, it's great to get likes or subscribes or comments, but for me, I just believe in promoting the space. So one, I believe in promoting the space. Two, I see it as an opportunity to kind of stream what I'm doing, you know, with my kids, you know, interacting in the showroom, and again, giving people that opportunity to see how awesome McFarlane Toys Digital is, for example, by showing them scenes in the viewer app, or Vivi through the Viviverse, right? So that's kind of my intent in starting the channel. One thing I found is I really enjoy just doing shorts at this point. So I think I'm always going to continue the shorts. It's super easy, right? You just go.
It's good for watch hours too.
You just do screen record and you turn on your mic, right? And then you start going. But again, there's been points where I made a short and then I was like, why do I hear myself breathing? That's so irritating. No, and do you know what it is? So I have Ray-Ban Metas. I don't know if you could see.
Oh.
So if I use my Metas to record my audio,
your nose,
they're sitting right on my nose. You can hear me breathing. I was like, oh my gosh, that is so irritating. So then
you're
you can make a Darth Vader one.
I know. So it's funny, right? So again, it's like all these things you have to learn about as you're making content. So now before I film, I put my phone on do not disturb, which I didn't realize I could even do. And that stops all the notifications. So I put my phone on do not disturb and I cut the Bluetooth. Because otherwise we saw this at the beginning of the show. I think my Echo Buds connected to Streamlabs. You're like, I can't hear you. I'm like, this is weird.
But and I hear that too, because even with StreamYards, there's some jankiness. There's some jankiness with every platform. So I've used Zoom. I didn't like it, and I don't even like the price point. I've used the first platform we started with was Google Meets. And the only reason why I did that is with the company I work for, because I'm in communications, we have the entire Google suite. And so it was free. And I was using basically our company account to do this. But even that platform was janky. And even trying to live stream, it wasn't that good. And so, platforms like this really worked out for the vision of what we wanted to do with this channel. But even this platform has some jankiness. If I have a certain audio output turned on, you're going to hear double audio when I play a transition, or if I play a music in the background, you're going to hear weird stuff. So then you got to kind of understand the programs you're using, the services you're using, and you have to also understand that there's a give and take with this stuff. There's always going to be an issue. Same with Restream and all these other platforms out there. There's I think there's iRiver. There's all these different ones out there. So you kind of got to use the one that you're comfortable with and work around the flaws.
Right. And that's kind of where I'm at as well. And for me, the reason why I've been putting out a lot of shorts, I can do them in one take on my phone. And then I've been making them on my breaks and lunch at work. You know what I mean? So it works out. Like I'm not I can find a place. I'm by myself. I'm doing it. So, and to me, I feel like I got that down. So now at this point I'm using OBS. And so I might go to StreamYard, right? I've been calling it Streamlabs.
So StreamYard kind of pricey. They've upped their prices, so I think it's like $49 now. So what a really good platform that's come out that's a little bit cheaper is Restream, and the price point I think starts at $15. So it's way cheaper. Now, why don't we go there? They don't have the features that I like. I've used it mainly because I got to try everything, because I have to think of redundancy, right? In case because not every platform is going to be 100% 24/7. StreamYards luckily has never gone down every time I needed to use it, but there has been issues with it in the past because of back end issues that they can't control, right? We don't know if something happens to whatever they're using, their services, right? Whether it be AWS, something like that. So you always have to think about a contingency to continue your operations here. So I look at everything, and I would suggest taking a look at Restream, because I think Janie Park, who does Digital Runway, I believe that's her channel, and she's trying to start a network of her own. She uses Restream. And I don't know if you're able to do like intros, outros, and transitions with that platform to the full robust and completeness of StreamYards like we are able to do here. But it's at least a good platform to start if you're starting fresh. And the price
Yeah.
point really is okay. You know, $15 is not bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Well, thank you for that information.
Yeah,
I've never done an
restream.io.
intro or an outro, and yours are amazing, by the way. So,
Thank you. Well,
Mhm.
you know, like I said, like it's a 1 year of building the infrastructure out here.
right.
I was on the Collectors Hub last Saturday and they asked me how we do these things. It's like in reality, it's taken me a year to come up with because I'm a person that likes to plan. I need a workflow, I need a task list, I need format, and I need structure. Because I come from the world of communications, and that's what we need to make PBXs and digital
Right.
basic all that stuff to function properly, right? So like I put all of my knowledge of communications into this,
Oh,
and I
cool.
basically created a template on how to do everything. A template how to make a commercial, a template how to make a thumbnail, a template how to make these transitions, intros and outros. They're templated. But in order to create that template, you got to put work into that. And I think like every template I've created so far, it takes me about 3 hours. But
Oh, wow.
once I put in the work for that 3 hours, it's 3 minutes. You know, I mean, if I want to
Yeah, that's
like, you know, so next week when we do an Aloha Friday, like from pen to paper, sign, seal, deliver out the door, something that used to take me 3 hours takes me 3 to 5 minutes because I have it all set. And so that's what I do here is I make sure that a lot of the infrastructure here is in place as an easy button. You know, because the last thing you want to
right.
do is you want to well, the one thing you want to do here is you want to work smarter and not harder. And so, but in order to have that concept ready for you, you have to put in the work in order so you can work less. And so that's what we've done here. And anybody can do it. You can do it. And you know, the tools are all out there, you know, whether you're using Adobe or CapCut or Canva, anybody can do this. It's all about like drawing it out, like literally, like you know, like if you don't know where the starting point is, just write on a piece of paper what you want to do, right? Who you're about, write your scenes, you know, write it out. If not, draw it out, right? And then once you
Right.
have that representation of what you want to do, A to B, that makes it easier for you. And then you work off that. And if you can't do that, you know, do record it on your phone. Record what you want to do. If you're not a person that likes to write, you know, if you're a person that's always on the go, well, your phone is the best tool right here. So I want to
Right.
do this and I want to make that, you know, or guess what? Artificial intelligence. Utilize that to streamline it. Don't use it as a crutch because I can tell when people like use it as a crutch
Yeah.
because AI does some weird stuff, right? Like if you tell AI to make something, you can tell like AI made it because it tries to find the best representation of what you want in your prompt and it puts it as a visual, right? And it looks good. It does. You know, AI has done a really good job to streamline. But me, and people aren't like me. I'm a perfectionist. So, and it's a worst enemy thing. Don't be like me, guys, because like that's why it takes me 3 hours to make something because I am a perfectionist. You know, like even like the McFarlane thing, like today, when I wanted to make sure that I did a graphic for them. You know, I do the same thing. Vivi, they have their own graphic. And so, but like, you know, something that really should just take me 10 minutes, it's taking me an hour because I don't like how it looks. I don't like the color. You know what I mean? I don't like the seconds it takes from whenever I push the transition. Like I'll give you a good example. Like it took me 1 hour to make this because I didn't like the first third to the eighth version I made until finally I made this version. I'm like, that's the one I want. Right. You know, so it takes me a while to make certain things because I'm a perfectionist. So not a lot of people are like me, but anybody can do this if you know, you put some time into it. So
Yeah, well,
D,
definitely thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it.
of course. And I'm, you know, as a reference, I'm always here to help anybody if they want like you know, tips on what to use. I'm not a person that likes to do anything for anybody. I'm more of like I will usher you into the right place. I'll give you suggestions on what to do. I'll tell you what tools to use. And you know, I'll go along that baseline right there because in the end, it's like, you know, when you're making something of your own, you want to make it your own. You know, you want your brand to recognize you. You want your sound to be you. If people realize, like, you know, if you when you watch our content, you know and I'm just going to say it because it's just the heartbeat of this place. You know that this is the Real Uncommon podcast, even though we've done a name change and a restructure. This place has always, and it will always feel as the Real Uncommon podcast, from how it looks, how it sounds, from the experience, from when you come on, from how we treat you. You know, that's always going to be the essence around here, and that's the homework I give everyone else. You know, it's like, you can do all this, but make it your own and make it you. Make the characteristic of what you're creating you. If it's a group of people of you, make it your group and make it big. And it's an exciting thing to do this, because it's like you're creating a baby, right? You're creating something of your own. You're nurturing it. And then when you watch this thing grow, it's such a proud thing to watch. You know what I mean? And so, like,
oh yeah, totally.
And I love what you're doing here. I loved it. I mean, like, when you first did your first video, I watched it. You know, I watched what you were doing. I love that you're putting stuff on the timeline. And you're just getting started. It's a beautiful thing. I've seen other creators also start doing other things. There's people doing visuals now. I want more content creators. You are 100% right. You decided to do this to try to push what we're doing here. And if there's an army of us doing this, this space is going to move. And that's what we really want. Don't you think?
Oh, yeah. I totally agree. And again, the shorts made a lot of sense to me, because, you know, it's probably been a number of years now, on my breaks and lunches, I'm in the VV app looking at collectibles and comics, trying to get those deals, right? Or mess around on Pinnacle, or you know, whatever. But I thought to myself, or I'm looking on X, I thought to myself, okay, if I'm interacting on the app, okay, and I feel like there's something worth talking about, I might as well just talk about it instead of just keeping it to myself, or even X, you know. So now, like I was telling you, on my breaks and lunch, I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna make a video. And honestly, it's really easy to find a topic, especially if you're involved in multiple projects.
Yes.
If you're on Discord, if you're on X, there's always something really interesting to talk about. And so, if people didn't know about this feature, you know, you have to add the record. You have to add the record button, right? And then you press it. You turn your mic on, right? This is iPhone. If you have
I'm gonna blow you up real quick. There you go.
Yeah. So
you don't have any personal information, right?
I don't think so. I was kind of looking at it. I'm like,
double check it.
Okay. And then I think you have to add the record button. It's that little dot with the circle. I don't think it's on there normally. And then if you hold it down, you can turn your mic on and off. So literally, you could be in Pinnacle, you could be in the VV app doing whatever you're doing, and you could just record and talk, you know, and just let people know, spread the word, you know. So and that's at least with those shorts, that's what I'm trying to do, because I'm like, I'm interacting with all this stuff. Why don't I share it? And again, it's fun because in a way, I feel like I'm memorializing my collecting experience. Like, I can go back in a year and, oh man, I remember Gambit. That's one of my favorite videos. Like, we had just finished a soccer game, and I missed the drop. I hit the market, and I think I picked up the after looking at the ultra rare, I'm like, dude, this is so amazing. The cards flying around. And then I saw he like grabs the card, or I think he has the card, throws the card, grabs the card, brings it in. I was like, man, that's like, I think one of my favorite collectibles. And then I saw a palindrome at the floor for like 30 gems. And I was like, that's mine. I think it was like,
Chris is smiling from ear to ear. You know, I know Chris Evers is smiling in that.
Yeah, I was like,
we have
mine.
Another one.
So then after I picked up the ultra rare, we were looking at the rare. So I picked up the ultra rare. Then I made a video because if you watch that video, my 4-year-old is like literally in that video, and he's commenting on it because he likes Gambit.
I love that.
Yeah, so it's kind of fun, right? Yeah. To like bring. So I guess what I'm trying to say is like I can now watch that video like a couple years from now and be like, man, I remember that moment.
Yeah, and you did it with your son. I love the one. Okay, because I watch all your shorts.
Oh,
I love the one that about the Invisible Woman and
Oh
how
yeah.
it's like, such a great collectible and you love what the artist did there. And another one that was really cute was the Spider-Man one where you're flipping in the market and he's like, "Oh, I like that one. We should buy that one." And you're like, it's like a little bit, more expensive, so we'll see. But I love that you're able to do that and have him interact with you and just share that moment with him. So yeah, that's really cool to see. And now you have it where it's here forever, and until you delete it. That you can go back on when they're older and it's like, do you remember when we used to do this? And it's great to see and great to have as now it's part of your digital collection too on a different platform on YouTube, and people can enjoy that.
Well, it's awesome too. Just looking at this, like, whether I have 0 subscribers or 1 million, just looking at this, I feel like it's starting to represent my digital collecting journey, right? Because even my profile pic, right? My drop head, right? And then look, I have my first VV comic set, right? After the release, I actually love that cover. I think the way they do to me, like I love that the words are like Spider-Man is upside down and backwards.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And I think that really sums up like what he's going through in that moment, the doom, the confusion, right? So there's that, there's Pinnacle, there's McFarlane, right? And it's just, I think it's awesome. Again, I accidentally got involved in the space and then I was like, man, this is pretty cool. I really like it. I see promise in it. And started voting with my dollars, started getting involved in Discord channels, X, etc. And yeah, it's been a fun journey so far. So yeah, thank you for showing this. I look forward to making more.
Yes, please
that.
subscribe. He is 49, I think 49 subs right now. So you're almost at 50. Then
we have 165 people watching. Subscribe, you guys. Let's get this guy to 100. There's 165 of you watching, guys. We could do this right there. Let's do this. Let's perpetuate the space together, everybody. This has been an awesome conversation. We're at 2 hours. Look how fast this goes, right? When you're up here doing this kind of stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Well, like as I said, I'm a professor, and it goes so quick. You have a good conversation, and here we are, 2 hours. Epic.
Yes. And so before we wrap up, I wanna show something to you right here. This is a book that so basically this is a peach momoko right here, right? So let me blow myself up right here. So this is Grogu right here. I don't know if you've seen this book before.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Let's see, Mandalorian is number 4. I know of the series for sure.
So I would like to give you your first slab, and I'd like to give you this. If you let me.
And
I'm serious.
Really?
That's awesome.
But we're gonna have to get your address. Yes, I want to thank you for coming on.
Okay.
I've heard you've never had a slab, so I would like to give you your first slab. And so this is a peach momoko with.
Oh, that's awesome! Thank you.
So I want to thank you for coming on, and this is coming to you.
Oh.
Yeah, that's so awesome. Thank you. I really appreciate it. I'll put it front and center back here. For sure.
First slab, guys. His first slab.
And you got more subs. You reached more than 50 now. Yay!
Let's go,
thank
you guys.
you. Yeah.
Power of community right there.
Yeah, definitely.
So before we let you go, there's a question that there's always a little turnaround here where we let you ask us anything. So now is the time for you to kind of ask us anything if you would like to.
Man.
Everyone gets that like put on the spot question. So
yeah, no, that's fine. I don't mind being put on the spot. Where do you see your channel and everything you're doing here? So it doesn't necessarily have to be at your channel in, let's say, a year or two. Like obviously you just released everything related to True, right?
Yes.
But like what exactly is that going to look like? What do you want to see? Let's say 1, 2. If you want to go out to 5 years, go for it.
Okay. So without giving too much away, because I
Okay.
can't.
See, I asked a good
no,
question.
but I know how to answer this question.
I want the
You know,
He's been practicing.
yeah, I know how to answer this question. I'm pretty good in the boardroom, DrKinon.
Oh,
So,
good. I
but
like it.
yeah, but like honestly, I see us a part of the conversation. So right now we're a part of the conversation, slowly a part of the conversation in Vivi and McFarlane and Pinnacle and Cryptoys and now Futureverse and Fairside. And I see us a part of the entire conversation. And that's where I see us in 5 years. When you go to say, I don't know, maybe a meme coin, right? Maybe we talk about the banker bot. You're going to hear True Media is going to be there. If you hear about like this other project, maybe other projects will come out. You're going to hear about True Media, you know, and that's where I see us in 5 years is True Media is going to be a part of the conversation. And I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
D,
I
how you want to
it.
answer that, D?
I refer to the him. Very well said, and I concur. Yeah,
Hey,
lots of stuff cooking. So just stay tuned. We'll make announcements when we're ready, and yeah, just appreciate everyone that's been here on the journey with us, and who will continue to be there. You know, in the next ventures and next chapters of of the media group. He's blurred. Oh, here you're good.
I'm back.
Focus, Inano. Focus. Focus.
This is my Ben, by the way, everybody. This is Ben Rose of True Media for me.
He's Raven.
Send me text messages over
The
here.
bird is watching.
So
Doc-
Hamano, one last quick connection.
Absolutely.
So you mentioned that you learned about Vivi through your chiropractor, right?
Well, so I learned about NFTs actually.
Oh, NFTs in general.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So now here's the connection. This is a super loose connection. Ready? So the chiropractor that my wife goes to was celebrating 10 years in business and was having hat making. So my oldest son, my 7-year-old, made this hat for me.
No way.
And so that's why. So they provided the hat and the patches. And then he, I don't think he ironed them on, but he placed them and they ironed them on. So that's why I'm wearing this today. This is a 1-of-1 that my son made.
Oh,
nice.
Awesome.
So there you
Fro
go.
Bro was asking about that because he really dug the hat. You hear that, Fro?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's super cool.
So that there you go. Buy some patches, buy some hats, make your own hats. You have one.
And go check out your chiropractor. They might give you good advice.
Yeah, talk to your chiropractor.
Yeah, not your therapist. Go see your chiropractor.
Yeah. Shout out to my chiropractor Rob. You can see him on the timeline. He's also in crypto and Web3, so it helps that he was in the space and he kind of gave me a crash course on what to expect, because my first NFT was the golden popcorn bucket from AMC. Cool. I was an AMC Connect club holder, and so anybody with part of that club, you got that NFT dropped to you for free on Wax. And so that was my first experience on blockchain and moving it and all that stuff. So but I never really understood how to do the gas fees and all that. I thought it was just so confusing to me. What the heck was a MetaMask? If it wasn't for joining the Dropheads, I would have never figured out that process. It's the truth right there. So MC as well as Kid Arcade really helped the education for us, specifically D and I, to learn this space in that manner. So so now fast forward, it's a little bit different. So I think anybody can do this. If they just kind of take the time to really learn to read this stuff. What you think, D?
Reading is fundamental.
Yeah.
And if you don't understand it the first time, hey, read it again or get AI to translate it for you and dumb it down for you.
There you go, guys.
That's what I do.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
And then I also want to shout out to the people that own the Real Uncommon podcast hat. That is a collector's item now. and you'll never be able to find one ever again. I think there's only one left we have in existence that we can give away, so that'll be for like a later date. But like, you know, talking about hats, right? Also, shout out to Key Comics, you know, sponsored for
There you
VV
go.
Radio. But you know, I love hats, and you know, sooner or later we will have some True Media hats made in the coming days. But Dr. Kinon, this has been an awesome conversation to the point where we have lost track of time. And I love having these conversations. And like I said, everybody, we got to meet this guy back in 2022. So this is very full circle for us. And now we get to have the conversations again. I still remember this day vividly. Whether I like it or not, I did not feel good that day, but I remember the day. I remember meeting you guys. And what I loved about when I met you and your wife that day is, you know, not once did I feel like you were a stranger. I felt the camaraderie right away. And I think these fandoms, the feeling of nostalgia, really kind of unifies people. And, you know, that's what I love about this space. And I think we can all unify together. Don't matter what project you're in. You know, you can love Vivi, you can love McFarlane, you can love Cryptoys or Futureverse or even the Bat Cowls. But at the end of the day, we want this space to succeed. And the only way this space succeeds if we're together, because guys, we're a small speck. We can say that this community is bigger than that one, but at the in the grander scheme of things, we're tiny. We're a period. That is it. And so if we want this space to blow up, we all need to move and perpetuate the space together. At least that's my opinion. So thank you so much for coming on, my friend.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, and we have an open door policy here. Where we you know, whenever you want to come back, you're always welcome to come back. If you see that we're talking about topics, sometimes we have round tables where collectors come on. We're going to be doing a show and tell thing soon, and so we would love for you to come back and really you know, talk more about your fandoms. We have certain shows like that, so you're always welcome to come on. But we're not leaving yet, guys, because I did not forget about the giveaway right here. We do have a sponsor giveaway from McFarlane Toys Digital. Type in #Superman if you want a chance to win. I'm going to show you guys maybe one of these. And so type in #Superman, Dr. Kinon. You do the same thing. We're going to give you guys 1 more minute. Once the black bar disappears, that's it. You're done. On top of that, Dr. Kinon, I also want to send you this Superman because it's Superman Day. And I don't know if you have this one or not, but you're going to have it again.
Let's go.
Happy Superman Day, my friend.
Thank you.
And yes, that is going to you as well, along with this comic book. So Dee will ask for your address at the end of the show, and we'll get that squared away. And everyone else, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate everyone for tuning in every single time. Look at that right there.
Oh,
yes,
the fidgetal.
We didn't even get to talk about the Superman movie. Oh yeah, look at
cool.
that. She's got hers. I'm looking forward to the Superman movie. I know we were just about to do the giveaway, but the Superman movie. Have you seen the trailer yet? What do you think of it, Dr. Kinon?
I honestly have not seen the trailer. I'm gonna be honest.
No.
But I'll tell you what, you just gave me some homework, right? So
there you go.
I promise I will watch it within the next 24 hours. There you go.
There you go. And so, like me, I'm a big Zack Snyder fan. I love the Snyderverse. Now the Snyderverse, not when WB decided to come in and just ruin everything, but like the actual vision of Zack Snyder. You know, I was a little bit bummed when Henry Cavill lost the role. We saw him last in what, Black Adam. And so, like, I was a little bit frustrated, but then, you know, now with, I think Henry Cornsworth, is that how you say his last name? I've seen him in Twisters. I want to give him a chance. I love the direction they're going with Superman. I just love the DC universe. So, like, any semblance of having the DC universe come back, I'm for it. You know, I'm for whatever DC they want to bring, and I'm going to give it a chance. You know what I mean? And I can't wait to see it. So, happy Superman, guys, and final words for the audience, Dr. Kinon.
Well, I just want to thank you all for having me on. It's been a great conversation. I really appreciate it. And I think more people need to share their experiences in digital collecting, because really that's the only way it's going to grow. So that's my message for everyone out there.
Let's go, guys. You heard the man right there. And with that being said, good luck to everybody.
Good luck.
Good luck. So the winner will get a promo code from us, and you can try your luck at a blind box at one of them Supermans right there. And shout out to the sponsor of today's giveaway today, McFarlane Toys Digital. I want to give a shout out to the Comic Guy, Video Shane, and also Todd for allowing us to do this for you guys tonight. Appreciate you guys so much. And what's that, Dee?
And should I tell them about the code and what they could do with it? Or
okay, yeah. There's a little bit more context. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Dee.
Yeah. So the code gives you a random rarity of Superman from Wave 4. So the winner, if the user collects Two-Face and Dr. Fate, they'll be eligible for the Build-A-Figure when they get launched. Happy Superman Day. Let's go.
Let's go, guys. Good luck.
Good luck.
And let's see who is going to be the winner right there. And let's see who's got the juju. Good luck. And thank you, as always, for tuning in, everyone. Ochoa Love. Let's go. Congratulations. You are the winner. DM us at the end of the program, and we'll get you that code. Actually, DMD, because I'm terrible at DMs, guys. For the people that already know, I'm bad at DMs. So you want to DM D at D1 and only or at Enter the Verse, and she will take care of you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. D, close out the show.
Well, first off, I want to thank you, DrKinon, for your time and coming on. And this is our Superboy.
Oh, there you go.
And,
awesome.
yeah, thank you for your time coming on and sharing your passion, your collecting journey, and just, everything that you're pretty much involved in the Web3 space. It was great conversation. I mean, almost 2.5 hours. So that's that's super awesome. So can't wait to have you back on and talk more collecting. When you have some time. I know you're busy, and congratulations to you on your soon-to-be newest addition to the family.
About to get busier.
Yeah, you're gonna get your hands full.
We know how you feel, man. My neck is killing me from all them. That he's like a bag of rice. This dude. So.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but it's fun.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Wouldn't trade it for the world.
That's right.
Oh, definitely.
I have three 1-of-1s, soon to have 4 1-of-1s. So
nice.
Let's go.
We have a goddaughter, also our daughter, and then now our Superboy right here. So our daughter loves DC, so her favorite character is Punchline. And it was funny. So this is the reason why we call our little boy Superman or Superboy. When we were like flipping through all the characters, we had like Spider-Man, Batman, Superman. We even had like certain X-Men, like Gambit. The ones that I like. Dad, right? And I kept flipping, and when I got to Superman, he would like get all jumpy and like get all crazy. I'm like, no way.
I was like, I'm so
Superman?
proud.
This is so perfect because like my favorite character is Batman, right? Even though I love them all, even Superman, but like, like this is full circle because D loves Wonder Woman. I love Batman. The little dude loves Superman, and then we got Punchline running the mix right here. So it's like it's a DC family.
There you go. It all works
even though
out.
Our brother Atem likes to call us the Fantastic Four, which is also another favorite of mine from Marvel. But big congratulations to you. And I love the journey you're gonna go through. I mean, you already know already. So
yeah, he's an expert. He's an expert by now, so he's good. He's good.
Never an
I'm
expert.
rusty. I'm totally rusty. But DrKinon, if you could hang back for a little bit after the program, just so I could get your address, and then we'll get you guys squared away. And everyone, thank you so much. This has been Aloha Friday. We appreciate everyone for tuning in, and we will catch you guys on the next one. Take care and aloha.
Bye.